And we have, through the years, have been studying, have been decolonizing, have been deconstructing all of these ideologies and all of these philosophies that are said to benefit our people. There's a lot of positions that we take on as a Mexica movement, but I think one of the most important ones is the power of identity and the power to reclaim who you are on your own land without the need of colonial identity or colonial power to stamp approval on your existence. So to begin, we are most known for our posters that came out in the mid-90s of not Hispanic, not Latino, Mexican, some said Mexican, that's not Latino, some said Central American, some said Salvadorian, etc., etc. So we initially, first of all, are trying to let our people know that you can look at the world through a non-European lens. Like, that is possible. Don't let white supremacy, don't let all these white crazy invaders make you believe or make you accept that you must acknowledge their terminologies, their ideologies, their visions of so-called justice as the only valid sources of philosophies or identities. I know that's a big concept that we're presenting. So first of all, let's begin with identity. We in the Mexica movement are declaring ourselves independent, indigenous, and trying our best to be free from Eurocentricity, white supremacy, colonialism. All of those three things fall under one foundation. And that foundation was established by the creation of this white supremacist system that took place when Europeans decided to leave Europe because it was pretty filthy. They had just survived the Black Plague. It was pretty bad. So what happens is, upon them invading our land, it wasn't a trade, it wasn't a peaceful agreement. These people went around the whole world to butcher and rape and steal and then enslave the surviving population. That is what happened to us. You might know us as Mexican, Central American, Native American, South American, American. I bet it goes with Bucci, has nothing to do with our people. But because these people have invaded our land and have stolen our land, they put a label of America. And then we have the Spanish-speaking Europeans colonizing the southern part of our land. And then you have the English-speaking Europeans colonizing the northern part of our land. But don't get it confused. This whole continent is ours. Who is ours? Well, it's a little complicated because colonialism has us all screwed up, thinking we're half white people, thinking that we're no longer indigenous. Let me break this down to you. 500 years of colonialism and genocide will not make us be non-indigenous people. Just because we have been invaded and raped and colonized for 5 centuries does not take away our right to who we are as an indigenous people. Those of us that survived, the 95% of the genocide against our people, those of us that survived through haciendas, survived through slave camps, survived through missions, because the mission was to kill us. But then again, if they killed all of us, who would be the enslaved? So that's where we get African slavery. Besides being completely inhumane, these people are completely lazy and could not work themselves. That's another video. So anyway, so what we're trying to do as the organization is present to our people a view that acknowledges our ancestors' view, our ancestors' language, our ancestors' right to this land. And we're trying to say we are a continuation of those people. We are here. We may be full blood, mixed blood, but we are indigenous people. Now, since we are forced to speak English and Spanish for the last 5 centuries, that is why we're speaking these languages, because we have been systematically kept from using our own, where there is a lot of our people who do speak our languages. So don't forget about those populations. But we're talking about here in occupied America, occupied United States of America, and we're telling you that we are here, okay? we are the indigenous people, and we are miscategorized and mislabeled to give this impression that we somehow don't exist in such a massive number. But if you understand the system of genocide and the system of identity genocide, you will understand perfectly what is going on here. So, those of us that survived the initial genocide of 95% of our population survived through the process of another colonization of religion, of patriarchy, of all this disgusting ideologies. In order for us to survive, we had to accept Christianity and Catholicism, and we had to say, okay, yes, master, yes, just so that we could frickin' survive, okay? Now that we are here and that we are growing in numbers, we should be able to go back and say, who were we before this genocide? What happened to us? How did we go from speaking indigenous languages to all of a sudden having Spanish surnames and speaking Spanish? There is a process to that, and that process was genocide, and that process is colonization. That's how we are approaching this reality that we are in. Most importantly, identity is power, and we understand that, and we've been fighting this whole Hispanic and Latino genocide against our people for the last 30 years. We recognize that identity is used to completely dominate our resources, to exploit our demographics. We understand that. Okay, so when our people are called Hispanic or Latino, called Southern Europeans, it is a way to steal our right to who we are as an indigenous people because we are on our own land. The history of the terms Hispanic or Latino was specifically connected to the white Cubans who were immediately accepted and given instant citizenship by the U.S. government. These people were well off. They had money, well off. They took control of Spanish-speaking media, and through the legality of it, through their construction of it, they came up with the concept of Latino to generate a false unity among all these Spanish-speaking people because it's a marketing scheme that says, oh, everyone who speaks Spanish is the same. And instead of you having to use your resources as a businessman to cater to the Mexicans or the Cubans or the Puerto Ricans, let's just come up with one identity so that way when we do all this marketing, it's all under one group, and voila, you get all of those benefits of exploiting complete diverse populations for your bill, right? So we understand that. Now, add to the fact that we have been systematically kept ignorant of our history. Add to the fact that we have been kept ignorant to the fact that we are not the illegals on this continent. You add all of these things and you understand the reality that we are in as Mexicans, Central Americans, Native Americans, South Americans, which we are calling ourselves Nicantlaca. Nicantlaca comes from the Nahuatl language, which, yes, not every indigenous person spoke it, but that is the identity that we are offering our people as a way